Okay. Hey everybody, and welcome to this music theory live stream. Go ahead and make yourself at home. And let's go ahead, and you can actually go ahead and ask me your music theory questions if you need to. And I am here to take them in the comments or in the chat. How do you use odd time signatures? Good question. So that is generally something you could do. Let's see. There are lots of different ways you could do. So let me pull this up real quick. Some of the other time signatures, like the odd 13, 16, may be a little bit odd. They may be a little bit more syncopated than straight. So because you have an odd number of beats, they may be a little bit less. So here we go. I'm already going to go 13, 16. Let's try this out. So I have something up here that can help. So we're trying to make these, you're going to end with a +1. So let's do this. So you're going to have, you could have 2 + 2 + 2. So that's 6 + 2, 8 + 2 is 10, + 2 is 12, +1. So there's going to be one beat lingering. So it's going to be, it's actually going to be grouped like this. regardless how you play it out, it's going to be lingering there. So there's the first two. Second two. Third two. Fourth two. Fifth two. Sixth two. So you have that. So it's basically 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 1, or 4 plus 4 plus 5. So you're going to have that sort of thing going on if you do 13/16, and that's how it's going to flow. Generally, you'll beam it 4, 4, and 5. You're welcome. All right, let's see where we're at. See who's here. Hey, Kay. This is like a music theory study hall, so anybody can bring their questions and ask. All righty, so yeah, go ahead and bring me your questions and I will answer them. Okay, doke. Let's see. So, any rate, you have your hand raised, Kay. Sorry, I need to unmute the class. There you go. Hey, what's up? So let's, so theoretical keys. So theoretical keys. I actually haven't heard of that one from my perspective. Oh, yeah. Oh, it probably has to do with has to do in that case with inharmonic keys. Like a lot of times, if they use G sharp major instead of A flat, it'll probably be because, you know, they want that double sharp in there, which I don't know. I wouldn't want it personally as a composer because I'd be looking at it going, what? Um, it's not it's not particularly easy to read. They 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 are rare. It's weird. On some of my old church's worship sheets, they would have these lead sheets where they'd have it instead of A flat major, they would have a G sharp major for the key, and I'm like, that's a little weird. So I think the thing with that is the guitar tends to lend itself better to sharp keys, better than flat keys. So they tend to tune it to sharp instead of flat. So they may use the theoretical keys more. Okay. Um, so we want to review cadences. So let's see, 151. So well, first of all, 151 is really just bouncing back and forth. I look at it as you're bouncing back and forth between the tonic and the dominant. And composers like Mozart actually, they do that all the time. They do that um, to emphasize, okay, this phrase is ending, or this phrase of music is ending, and we're about ready to go on to another musical phrase. So get your ears ready for that one. So I think that was part one. And what was the other part? Oh, plagal cadence. That's church. Yeah, the church cadence. Amen. Church cadence. Yeah. Well, uh, you can use any of them, any of those times, but they're most effective used at the end of a movement or at the end of a entire selection because they're more they're more how do you say final? They're more they put more of an exclamation point on this is the end. Um, Whereas you can have a phrase of music that will end, but it it doesn't have to have that. For instance, you could have a phrase that ends on a five chord. We could have one of those half cadences that ends on a that ends a phrase like C G. We could end on that G chord, end a phrase on a G chord, and call that a half cadence, and then continue with the next phrase. So it's kind of certain phrases are more um, what do you call it? One phrase connects to another, so it's more connected phrases, and then the final biggie, the big one, is the one where they just bring it all together and it's boom, that's the end. I hope I broke that down. Mm, mhm. Yeah, and it also depends on what form you're using, because I don't know if we talked in any of the classes I've done about like different forms like sonata form, where it's, they start off theme number 1 and 2 here, there's like a main theme here, then it goes to let's say in the second movement there's another theme, but it goes from the major key to the relative minor key, then it goes to a development section where it plays with those two contrasting themes over and over again, and then it brings it back to the first theme in the home key, and that's what's called the recapitulation, and then it ends. So that's sort of the sonata thing going on. So yeah, yep, right, right, right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And be tonic is always the last, because it's like hunger in the home stretch. It's like they're bringing it all back to you know the big picture. Yeah. Uh, yes, there are quite a bit. Mm. Um, so do you remember what one of them actually said? That sounds right. Right. Yeah, it's like AAB. Yeah. Okay. Hmm. I believe there are different forms. The most basic form that we should all be familiar with is the 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4. Or the 4 plus 4 plus 4 12 bar. How it's broken up that way, which was what the first professor or first instructor rather said. You have one, like one for 4 beats or 4 bars, and then maybe the B flat is another 4 bars, then you go back to 1, and then for another 4 bars, and then for the last one you go to C7 and then back to F. So yeah, I mean that's generally how I've looked at it. But yeah, there seems to be some differences there. So let's see. So 12. Okay. So yeah. Okay. And you're like, oh no. Because everything I'm seeing here is all like, let's say if we do it in C, they're doing like 4 bars of C, they're doing 5, 6 in F, 7, 8 in C, and then 9 is in G, and then 10, 11, 10 is in F, and then 11 is in C, and 12 is in G. That kind of thing. So that's the standard one. Yeah. Yeah. Right. Yeah, I think they would go for the first one because I think that's more standard. I mean, at least when I was in jazz combo, that's what we did. We did a combination of jazz and blues, and the 12 bar blues, we always did. We always did this one. So yeah, I'm like, oh boy. Well, yeah, and I mean, it could be, there could be variations, but I think we generally stick to one. Oh, I bet. Oh no. Well, I think I could definitely see a chord clash. Um, and that's not what you want. You don't want a chord unless you're like, Claude Debussy or something and you want some sort of weird, chordal, quintal, whatever, something harmony kind of thing, unusual harmonic thing going on. Then you can have it, or if you want it to sound like a ninth was in there instead, you know, you could have that. But I don't know. I think it would clash. Uh, I know Rondo comes up in my mind. So Rondo, it is different, kind of a different. It's still instrumental in composition with the refrain recurring 4 lines with a 4 line refrain. Uh, yeah, it's the refrain actually recurs 4 times in the tonic with 3 couplets in contrasting keys. So it's a little different than sonata. It has little differences, whereas the sonata has one, like one theme here, two theme, or second theme, and then that's the exposition. Rondo is more, okay, here we go, here's one theme, and here's the refrain, and here it goes. Here's the refrain of it at the end of that first theme, and that usually occurs 4 times in the tonic throughout the theme. So let's see. I don't know if you get that. I don't know if that was easy or not to understand. That was kind of well, couplet would mean they have some sort of different. They have some sort of different um, uh, form or some sort of different two sets of two different types of rounds. Like basically, principal theme, sometimes called the refrain, alternates between one or more contrasting themes called episodes. And these are often referred to as digressions or couplets. So the rondo itself is the refrain, and then you have these little couplets, these little digressions of thematic or non thematic material that kind of take off. So in this, the best known form of rondo that we have is called an A-B-A-C-A. The common refrain that keeps coming back is A. So, and they say Beethoven, and I think it says Beethoven's Für Elise is one of the most popular ones. So you have that da 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 that comes again and again. So couplet would be, let's see, if we were to do the couplet, I think the couplets are in between. So possible patterns include, these are sometimes called first rondo, second rondo. Okay, so I would go AC, AB. Those are kind of the couplet forms. BC is another couplet form. But the A, and A, they're all the same refrain there. The pattern repeats, and that's what your refrain would be. Let's see. Can I see it? Okay. So the refrain is like this. The da 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 dee da 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 da, that one. But the couplet is more like when you go like ba da da dum ba da da dum ba da da dum ba da da dum ba da da dum. That's the end of that theme right there. So those would be kind of the couplets. And what's cool about this is they're going down in sevenths. Did you ever notice that? They're always, he's going down in sevenths all the time. So they have like a common interval sort of thing that they share too. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's almost like it's a sequence. Like a sequence is kind of another one of those things where you have a different thing of notes. Let's say you have a G, B, D, C, and then you go down a whole step, F, A, C, B flat. I just took the whole structure, that first structure, and I put it down a whole step. But if there are two measures and one is the G structure and one is the structure that begins on F, the two make a sequence with each other. because they're the same rhythmic pattern, or they may be the same sort of note fluctuation pattern, but they're different pitches. So they're different pitches, but they're the same interval pattern, you know. So that's what a sequence would be. So those, it's all about repeat structures and everything, yeah. So uh-oh. Okay. Okay. Okay, so for 13th, so first of all, once you get past sevenths, it gets really complicated to keep all the notes in. You have to kind of decide what, you kind of have to decide what uh, pitches you're going to keep. I would keep the dominant function because that actually, 1 and 5, I think, are your pillars. Tonic and dominant. Those are, I look at like towers. I look at those as that's foundation right there. You have to have that. And if you don't have those, that's kind of like, oh boy, you know. One that you can leave is probably the third. You could probably leave that and still have the ninth. But you can't really, uh, what was your second question again? Sorry, I'm trying to keep it. Argument. Oh, okay. That's why I say. Oh, oh yeah. Never. Oh no. Well, I see what the first one said, because if you do it like I was saying and you have it like pillars, you would actually lose, like they said, you would lose the major minor versatility. But you you do need it. I would say this, at least have your tonic there. If you don't have anything else, just have a tonic there. If you need to get rid of the dominant, get rid of it. If you want to preserve the third, do it. But you got to have that home key there. You got to have that tonic there. Tonic there with the ninth. So yeah, yeah, you need. So if we're taking a ninth, let's say we're taking So I basically just fingered an E, B flat in the left hand with G and D in the G and D in the right hand, E and B flat in the left. That's what I have for my ninth chord per se. Yeah, you probably don't hear this. I don't know why it's not playing through Take Lessons. I don't know why they don't have it. I have to put it on, I guess, speaker in order for you to hear it, because right now you're in my earbuds. Not that that's a problem, but I've had to just turn up the I've had to just get it through let's see. I've had to restart it's a program called MuseScore. Every time I go into here, I always have to readjust what the output is. I don't know if you've ever messed with that, but I always have to mess with okay, the output's supposed to be speakers versus headphones. And I'm like, oh boy, then this is why it takes so long to get. And I wish that Take Lessons did something like Zoom, where it has a share that it has a share sound. You can actually share the computer sound through the audio, and you could share. Yeah, and then I have to type them in the chat so everybody could see, or yeah, and that's fine. So you were asking about I wouldn't change it to a natural. Okay, because then you're making the chord say something different. That because maybe the composer is saying no, it's this sort of chord, and a certain type of chord should be voiced this certain kind of way. So if you're voicing it in such a way that it's like, oh, you're taking out that voice, but you're but you're adding the major seven instead of the minor seven, the dominant seven, it changes the tonal quality of it, and you don't want to change. So I have this. I don't know if you could hear any of that. Oops. Well, I have a chord up here. I don't know if it's screen sharing, but no, it's not. Let me see. So let me go to window. Let me pull you up here. There. That's what I pulled up. Let me do in the second measure, I will do this. What did I do before? I'm trying to do that to answer the question here. Okay, let's go to, because I had an E, that chord. Okay, so let's do, yeah. Where are you? Whoops. Where are you? So I'm gonna hook it somewhere if I can find my cursor again. There we go. So the well, let's say if you were to, we were to play that, which is kind of difficult, right? This in and of itself would look difficult to play. So if we were to take that B flat out, let's go, what else do I have there? D, E, and G. Yeah, it's still a ninth. It doesn't have the seventh in there, but it still has the nine. So you can keep that nine. You can keep the nine. You can get rid of a seven. And actually, this could be construed as a C7 add nine here, if you have that. Uh, you can. You can. So yeah, that's one thing. I know us teachers, we have differing opinions on a lot of stuff. Yeah, and I thought a lot of people needed this sort of thing because I noticed, a lot of different, when I hosted a lot of different classes, people would come on at various different levels of the game and they were like, okay, I don't know this, I don't know that, I don't know this. So I figured, why not just open the floor, open the floor up to them. And, I call it kind of like a study hall for music theory, you know, or like a music theory lab almost, just to get the questions answered, because it's sometimes it's better for me to have the questions thrown at me than it is for me to just have the lesson plan. Don't mind. I like doing both, but sometimes, I like to see where the conversation goes to, you know. Oh, you're welcome. It's my pleasure. Yeah, and I intend on, having different days, different times for this specific class, because I know people study the music theory. I know they study piano. I may do a study hall for piano, just to make piano people, I actually have a similar class that I taught today that was top tips for effective piano practice. And in that class, I'm telling students of all ages, all abilities, like, here are my tips that I tell my one on one students all the time. And here's why I say this. And here's what to look for when you're practicing, and all that sort of stuff. And it's all to make the practice time more effective. Yeah, it does. I mean, because you could start out like me. I didn't know theory when I started. I just started playing by ear, but I didn't know any theory. I didn't know anything. I just said, oh, those two sounds sounded good together. And so what happens if I do this and this and this? This sound, this. Okay, that doesn't sound good. I was just doing it by my ear. I wasn't doing it by theoretical stuff. But from 11 onward, when I got that note speller book and I started doing, as a kid, started doing all this stuff, I'm like, okay, now I see how this all works. And now I'm teaching it. So, okay. Yeah, please drop in anytime. All right. Thanks. Okay. Any more questions as we wind down? Okay. Hey, Aaron, sorry about that. So what are the voice leading techniques when using ninth and 11ths? Okay, example, the 5-7 going to the 9 and then going to 1. Well, in this case, you have a lot of what are called leading tone. You could either have leading tone dominant 7th chords that go to 1. So the effective voice leading for those would be you'd have to have some tone in the dominant 7 that will be a leading tone to 1 if it's a dominant 7 chord. Or in the case of there's also substitutionary chords, which are basically 7th chords, which are 7 diminished. That they could sound like dominant 7s, but they don't have the root of the dominant 7 chord. They just have like D, F sharp, A, C can lead to G. They have G is your tonic. And so they can have those, but if you take the D away, then it's just F sharp, A, C. So you have that diminished uh, quality going to 1, leading to 1. An example that comes to mind for the first question oops, spelling stuff wrong already, is 5-7, like say if we have a D, F sharp, whoops, not F3, / a C going to G, going to G1. The C leads to the B, half step down. If you take away the D, just have F sharp, A, C, then you'll have a leading tone. Oops. Whoa, why is my volume going way up? There we go. Seven chord, F sharp, or a leading tone diminished chord on degree 7 of scale. F sharp, A, C. So you'll have that kind of stuff going on. Those both lead to G, B, D, 1. And as for the second question, which is the correct context when trying to use N6? N6. Can you clarify the N6? Oh, Neapolitan. Never mind. Okay. Neapolitan 6. All right. Let's do this. Oh, yeah. Sorry. Had to jog my memory. Just a bit. So the Neapolitan chord, it's a major chord in which these things are flatted. Let's see. At 4. I can come out. Hold on, let me answer this. Look for okay. So I'm gonna have to pull this right now, right here. And thank you for coming out. And hopefully I answered everybody's questions. If not, you can always comment or email at the bottom of this after the chat renders, and I'll talk to you. See you later.